Hey guys, it is NCS Fan 001 here for another one of those weekly trophy list updates. Today's date is Monday, May the 8th of 2023. So this will have covered the week of May the 1st through the 7th of 2023. This was a pretty productive week overall, not gonna lie. Got quite a few platinums and finally started on a couple of things I've been wanting to start on. So let's go on back down. Let's see. Horizon, I believe, was already done as of last week. Yes, it was. So the first game I worked on this week was Geometric Sniper, the PS5 version. Now, I have a bit of a funny story for this. Part of the reason I bought this game is because I swear I remember when I was like a kid in like elementary or middle school, probably middle school, I swear I remember playing games like this, maybe Flash games or something on like the computers in the library or even on my laptop I had back in the day. I don't really remember exactly what it was, but I swear that this game, I thought it was going to be just like some of those old school games that I used to play on there. That includes stuff like Unfair Mario, I think I played back in the day. Whatever, I thought it was going to be similar to that. I had only looked at the trophy guide, I had never looked at the actual gameplay, and boy was I pretty far off on my assumption. This game is absolute trash, and I cannot recommend even touching it, even if it was free. It is not worth playing. It is a really, really bad experience. I also apologize if you hear any loud noises outside. It's currently in a thunderstorm down here, which is pretty typical for this time of year, so let's just hope the power stays on, knock on wood. Anyway, for the Platinum Trophy, you have to finish the adventure missions, which is basically just finishing the game. So finish the 12 missions, you get all those. That mode was fine. I didn't have a problem with the adventure mode. That one was fine. And it's also real quick. You can knock it out in like half an hour or less, because most of the missions are pretty short. We'll skip the find missions for now, and then you also have to finish all of the elite missions, which are basically the hard mode versions of the normal missions. The difference is that you aren't allowed to zoom your rifle, and you aren't allowed to steady it, like holding your breath like you do in a Call of Duty game. In both cases, it's a little bit annoying, but it's not anything too terribly bad. But the trophies themselves aren't. The gameplay is something I'll talk about here in a second. You also have to eliminate the target on the first mission differently. That's the one where you have to drop an air conditioner on his head. For the 8th mission, you have to shoot the balloon that the target is riding in instead of the target himself. The 10th mission, this one is like weird. I think you have to... I was just following a guide for that one because it's a little bit more complicated. You have to like eliminate a target that's going to poison a person, and then you have to eliminate a sniper that was their backup somewhere else on the map. And part of the problem with this game is that everything is random. Like, you don't know where things are going to spawn at on each playthrough of each mission, so it's different every single time you play it. So do keep that in mind, that that's going to be an issue. Now, the main problem I had was that this game is really quite buggy for how small of a game it is. And what was happening was I would go into the missions, and there would be times where I would very, very clearly hit a target, and it just wouldn't count it. I would very clearly hit the target, but for some reason the bullet would just like phase through them. Then there were also other times where constantly the game would just start lagging out of control, so it was so slow and choppy it was unplayable. Now that could usually be fixed by quitting out of the game and closing the application and going back in. But that happened several times in this short platinum, so that was really, really annoying. And then just the bigger problem, though, was just how awful the hit detection was. Constantly, you can hit a target, and it just doesn't care. It doesn't count it. And then with that, you have very limited ammunition on missions. Most missions only give you enough bullets to complete the objective exactly. Some of them might give you one extra bullet at most. So there's really no margin for error. I remember that bank mission being really, really annoying because of that, because I kept somehow one of the bullets would keep phasing through one of the targets. And plus you have to wait like a full minute on that mission before the targets even become available, which is really stupid. There are several missions like that where you have to wait like a full minute before you can even hit anything. And then we have the find missions. Now, these ended up being way harder than I expected them to be, way more annoying, because like I said, everything is randomly generated on each playthrough, And for the find missions, you have to locate hidden objects scattered around the map, and you have to shoot all of them within a very tight time limit. Usually it's only like, maybe a couple of the missions are like 3 to 4 minutes, and some of them might be up to 6 minutes, but it's really not a lot of time given usually the amount of targets you have to hit. And along with that, that whole issue of the game, not counting your shots and not counting them as hits rears its ugly head again. And many times you will hit a target and it just will not count it. It will just phase through the target, so you'll be screwed and have to start again. And I'm almost 100% confident in saying that sometimes the game does not spawn every single target in these missions. I'm really almost positive in saying that that's probably a fact. I could be wrong, but I really do think that there are some runs where not everything spawns. So do keep that in mind, because these find missions, again, they're a lot more annoying than I expected them to be. They get a little bit easier starting around, I believe it's the 7th mission or so. They start getting a little bit easier because they start having multiple different types of targets that you have to shoot at. So fewer of each type, which tends to make it a little bit easier. Well, maybe not necessarily fewer of each type, but it varies it up enough to where there's enough targets around the map that they're usually a little bit easier to find. And like the final mission in both the main story and in the find mode is probably the easiest one, shockingly, because it's a real small arena to look through. So yeah, was really not a fan of this one. I really do not recommend playing it. The Platinum Trophy is not very common. It's well under 50% on PSN profiles, and it's a sub 10% right now on here. But I still just wouldn't recommend it. It's not a fun experience. It's a really bad, broken game. I think there's a second one. I would not touch that one either, because I suspect it's going to be just as bad. Now for a much better game, Drowning. This game is going to look familiar to long-term viewers of the channel, because I have now platinumed this game, I think, 4 times. I did the North American and European PS4 versions, as well as the North American Vita version, and then the game eventually got this random PS5 drop with, I think, multiple regional stacks. I don't mind it, though, because, again, I've always liked this game. I think this is a really solid sort of storytelling, walking simulator type of game, because that is what it is. It's a walking simulator. It deals on a lot of, darker mental health type issues. So that is something, I guess, to be a little bit wary of if you're playing through it for the first time and you have issues. Maybe if you get triggered real easily, I wouldn't necessarily recommend playing it for that reason. But it's actually a pretty solid game for what it is, for being made by only like 1 or 2 people. So for the Platinum Trophy, you have to get all of the game's endings. So the main ending has you go through to the end of year 12. So it's like years 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then at the end of year 12, you can get some of your endings. So on this one, you have to get to the end of year 12 and go through the portal at the end. Secret Ending 1, I think, is in year either 9 or 10, and you just have to take a secret path off to a secret area. Then this secret ending, I think, is the one where you walk past the cabin in year 12. One of these is for walking past the cabin, and one of these is for entering the cabin, walking up to the portal, and walking past the portal. There's a really great text guide on PSN Profiles that'll allow you to knock the game out in half an hour with no problems, so I definitely recommend checking that out. Additionally, the game is a lot faster than it once was, because you are allowed to skip all of the, whatever you want to call it. You can actually skip all the years, which saves a ton of time from having to play through the game multiple times, or like fully play through the game several times. So you're going to get all of these trophies just by getting the game's 4 different endings. Start a game for a first time, that's an unmissable trophy you'll get right when you start. Then you have some year-specific trophies. So in year 8, just turn around at the beginning and try to go into the pond. In year 11, try to walk off the side of the bridge 10 times. It might take a couple more than that just for it to fully count, but it's super easy. Then at the beginning of year 12, turn around and try to climb the rock. Then in year 12, as soon as you can see the cabin, turn to your right and try to walk toward and up the hill to your right. And then you have some collectibles. There's a handful of collectibles throughout the game. I don't remember exactly where each one is. I think this gift box is in like year 8. Maybe the snowman is in year 9. The candle is in year 10. It's on the path for the secret ending in year 10, so it's pretty much unmissable. The candy is maybe year 12, as is the Christmas tree. I think these are both year 3. Or, excuse me, year 12. I don't know why I said year 3. So I believe those are both year 12. And this is in one of the ending sequences. But again, I don't remember exactly which ones. But if you just check out a guide on PSN Profiles or a Bad Driver video, you can knock this Platinum Trophy out in half an hour. Once again, it's a pretty solid game for what it is. I will recommend playing this one. It's actually a fun game to play through. It's a darker game, so just keep that in mind, but it's not a bad game at all. Definitely worth playing. Next up, Far Cry 6 on the PS5. This is the only Far Cry game I have left to platinum and 100%. The experience so far has been mixed. At least it's been good for the base game. I have no complaints so far about the base game because it plays much better. And, perhaps the best part of it of all, you can actually semi-auto-pop parts of this platinum, which I wasn't expecting. You can't auto-pop any of the single-player trophies unless you had specific save files, like before unlocking each of these trophies. I guess you could do it that way, because what you can do is you can upload your save from the PS4 to the cloud, and once it's uploaded to the cloud, you can download it on the PS5. You can download one save at a time, but I think you only get 3 save slots anyway. So you will still have to finish the story again, which is fine. You can kind of speed run through it on the easiest difficulty if you want. They also added in a new difficulty. It's called Gorilla. It's the hardest difficulty, and if you select it, you can't select it, or you can't change it during your playthrough. So I don't know how hard it is. I'm currently playing through on normal, and I mean, normal is not really difficult at all for like the main story stuff. Not talking about the DLC with that one. That's a little bit more extensive. So yeah, you're going to get some story-related trophies. You also have the secret ending here. This one is unlocked as soon as you get access to a boat or a plane. Fly or drive your boat off the side of the map, and you'll get a secret ending. So then you have to capture an FND base without being detected. So this one you'll still have to do. Complete an FND base with a co-op partner. It's the only true online trophy. It's the only one that requires another co-op partner, another player. But that's, real easy. But this trophy auto-pops by, if you load up your PS4 save file on the PS5 version and just go capture one FND base, this trophy will unlock. This one, you only have to capture one FND resource vehicle on that file, and this one will unlock. This one, same thing, capture one checkpoint, and this one will pop. Blow up one anti-aircraft cannon, this one will unlock. I'm assuming that intercepting one military supply drop will unlock this trophy. This one, I don't see any way to auto-pop this one, so you'll have to go back and do this one again. The cockfighting match, I mean, it's one cockfighting match. It wouldn't matter. I would assume that winning one Grand Premio will unlock this trophy instead of completing 3. Win a single game of dominoes is simple enough. Complete a single special operation is simple enough. Completing one Bandito operation on your uploaded file will unlock this trophy, so you don't have to do all 5. That's a single-use kind of trophy. This one actually unlocked, I think all I did was just equip one of the unique weapons, and this one auto-popped, which is awesome, because some of the unique weapons are in pretty obscure places. Then this one, I assume that this one, well, I don't know if you could really have any real way of auto-popping this one. This one does not seem to auto-pop even switching through all the Supremos, so you will have to do this one again, which is fine. Purchase a single meal, and this one will unlock. I assume that these would technically unlock if you had, or I assume that you could upload save files right before collecting the last one of each, but there's no way to auto-pop any of these 4 collectible trophies as far as I'm aware, so you will have to do all of these again, but they are collectibles, so they're easy enough. The Amigos is presumably the same thing. You're going to have to just find all of them again, because I don't think switching between them really works at all. Pet Guapo is, of course, a super easy trophy you can get early on. Equipping Chikaron with the Mother Clucker outfit is very easy. I actually did that on my uploaded save file because I already had it all unlocked. This one does not seem to auto-pop, which is fine. I mean, it's still a pretty easy trophy. This one is another auto-pop, even though it's basically unmissable while beating the main story of the game, so you wouldn't have to worry about it. This one you can do in certain places. This one's an auto-pop after catching one fish. This one requires a specific piece of gear. This one's an auto pop, which is awesome. So you only have to finish one insurgency week in if you upload your save, and you'll be able to pop this one after just one instead of having to do it 3 times, or using the sort of not really cheating method at all, but just the method that was at least originally in the game, where you could just kill the insurgent leader, then kill yourself before finishing the mission, and just repeat that a few times until it unlocked. This one also auto-popped after killing one Special Forces soldier, but this is just like the active heat. This one's basically unmissable while just beating the game. Normally, this is a pretty much normal trophy you'd have to get. This one, I guess maybe you could do the save uploading or something, but it's something that you're going to have to do again. Then the 200 meters at once, it's something you're going to have to do again. This one this one actually auto-pops as well, but it's also very, very easy. This one is, of course, it was kind of missable at first, but now you can abandon any of the locations, any of the outposts whenever you want. So it's not really a problem anymore. This one's really easy. I'm surprised I haven't gotten this one yet. This one's still really, really annoying, but it does auto-pop, which is great. So just have a poison soldier kill one other enemy to get it to unlock. But man, is it finicky. The game just doesn't like to let the poison soldiers kill other people because they're real weak. This one is an unmissable story-related trophy you'll get near the end of the game. This one, I haven't even tried to auto-pop this one. You might be able to, though. This one I'll just be doing normally. This one might auto-pop. I haven't actually tried this one yet either. Then this one should come naturally while completing the main story and some of the special, like, extra stuff. And then you have 3 special operations trophies. This one you're going to have to do again. This one you're going to have to do again. This one auto-pops after freeing just one hostage, which is awesome because otherwise it's a stupidly time-consuming trophy. So the base game has been going great so far because I've made that much progress from, just a few hours of playing the game. So I am very happy with my progress so far on the base game. And of course I haven't touched any of the, true DLCs yet. This DLC, though, is kind of another story. This is the one where you have to complete each of the special operations, all 5 of them, on Mastery Level 3 difficulty. Now, Cocodrillo actually didn't end up being all that difficult. I got through that one first try. I died one time, which was a death that I was expecting to take when I got to the very end because you get a checkpoint there. So it was fine. I got through that one first try. This one took over 2 hours of attempts, and that is the angriest I have gotten at a video game in a very, very long time. If you guys were there for the live stream on Saturday, you saw that, and I hope that my neighbors couldn't hear it, because I think the walls here are thick enough that they didn't hear it, but I hope they didn't, because they probably think I'm a psycho or something. Yeah, this one was absolutely horrible. From what I remember, this one might be the worst one, because I remember a path through this one that makes it fairly easy, or fairly reasonable, and I remember the 4th and 5th ones are not that bad. Puerto del Eden and the other one are not really all that bad. But this Masio was just absolutely horrible, because I kept dying due to things that were so far out of my control, because I know for an absolute fact that on the PS4 version, there were not that number of flamethrower enemies on this mission. I mean, every single enemy was a flamethrower on Mastery Level 3, and I mean every single enemy during your run back. Maybe there was a more efficient path I could have run through or something, but when every single enemy is a flamethrower, you're basically screwed. If one of them sees you, you're done pretty much, unless you have an unlimited source of water like a fountain or something on top of you. So it was absolutely horrible. If you want to go watch me lose my mind for 2 hours, feel free to go watch that live stream. There's a lot of swearing in it, so you're probably going to want to have headphones in for it. Just what an awful experience. This game mode is so freaking bad. It was so clearly never tested by anyone that worked on this game. It's just a mess. It was never tested. It was never... Especially not on this highest difficulty, it wasn't tested. It's just such a mess, and it should never have been in the game in this state. I am not looking forward to doing Mesozoico, even though I think there's an easier path through it. but the final defense is a little bit harder from what I remember. And you have to have a very, very specific gear setup to even be able to get through these missions on Mastery Level 3. Even if you're good at the game, you need to have a very, very specific gear setup to have any chance of getting through it. This one, like I said, I think these two are easier. Puerto del Eden is fairly easy from what I remember, or easier. And Los Tres Santos, from what I remember, is the easiest one, because there's basically an unlimited source of water where you have to hold out at the end, so it's not too bad. And then, of course, you have all the other DLCs. I don't know if I'm going to stream the entire 100% run of this game to YouTube yet, because, I mean, some of it's being done through Autopop, so I'm not even sure what I would be, titling it. I could definitely stream the entirety of the Platinum, no problem. I really don't know if I want to stream all the DLCs, because that's going to add a lot of extra time and stress, so it's probably just going to be the Platinum for that video whenever I end up doing that, and I don't know what that video is even going to be like, or what I could even title it like. This Platinum is so much easier with Autopop. Well, of course it is. No doubt it's going to be easier with Autopop. So that's Far Cry 6's progress so far. I mean, it's going fine so far. I can stream the base game, no problem, and at least I can stream the remaining 3 special operations probably, and you guys can watch me lose my mind even further. Then, the next game I obtained was the PS4 and PS5 versions, the North American versions, of A Sketchbook About Her Son. This one has been sitting in my backlog for well over a year at this point, and I've just been lazy about playing it. It's a super, super easy Platinum trophy. All you have to do is beat the game for all but one of the trophies. We'll unlock just by beating the game, which is pretty awesome. This is a visual novel game where you are allowed, or it's basically a visual novel game where you're allowed to choose between a couple different things or select nothing at all. And by completing the game's 12 chapters, you will get the first 12 trophies, not counting the Platinum. So all 12 of those trophies will unlock just by simply completing the game, which is great. The only issue is that you have this trophy down here that's a little bit rarer. To get this one, you have to finish the entire game without making a single choice. Now, this has good and bad connotations to it. The good is that it means all you have to do is basically set the controller down and step away for half an hour while the game plays itself, and you'll get the Platinum trophy. The only times you'll have to interact is hitting the X button at the end of every chapter to continue on to the next chapter. So you can easily just go do something else while the game's playing in the background. The music's okay, but it was probably copyrighted, so I had to make sure it was muted for the videos, because I've been running into some issues with copyright on easy platinums and stuff recently, or at least on shovelware. I don't know if it would happen on other easy platinums like this that are actual games to some degree. But yeah, that's the one trophy that's missable, so just don't select any dialogue options. And I mean, there's good in that you get a super easy platinum trophy that way, but at the same time, I would like, to be able to make my own choices, have it be like a Telltale game where you are allowed to play the game however you want, make whatever choices you want, and you still get the platinum regardless. I prefer it that way, not just having to beat the game, without touching anything and getting, no emotion or extra information out of the game. Now, the game is intended to be able to beat in that way, because it gives you sort of a unique, not really unique, but slightly different ending as far as I can tell, because I assume there's several different endings to it. But this version took me 35 minutes, and the PS5 version took me 32 minutes. And the fastest time on PSN profiles, I think, is exactly 30 minutes and some seconds. So you really cannot speed this up that much. The fastest, I could have done it a little bit faster if I had been really paying attention and hitting the X button immediately at the end of each chapter. But that's the only way I could have sped this one up. So it's definitely not one that you could perfect that much better, because the game just has to play itself. But the PS5 version is identical. There's all your trophies. The PS5 version is a slightly more common platinum. Like I said, that one's just been sitting in the backlog for so long, I decided it was time to go ahead and finish it off. And because I was waiting on another hour-long update for the Division 2 after doing an hour-long update each of the last, few weeks, I'm pretty sure. Or at least, last week I know I did one. So now we get to the big ticket item of the week, Tom Clancy's The Division 2. I have finally started on it, which means that sometime within the next few months, the drinking game of speaking about The Division will finally be over, with the exception of the, 701 through 800 Platinum Trophy video, whenever that happens, a year or so from now, when I'll have to mention the game again there. But other than that, soon enough, the drinking game for this will finally be over, if anyone has still been doing that. I really hope for your sake that you haven't, or if you have been, that you've been balancing out to one of these trophy updates a week, or a day even, and then just having exactly one drink a day, because that's probably perfectly fine. Anyway, the Platinum Trophy is not overly difficult as far as I'm aware. It's very rare, but it's only a 4 out of 10 on guides, so it's not too bad. So I'm assuming that every single one of these hidden trophies is a story trophy. That's my assumption. That one's a way more common one, though. Yeah, I'm assuming that everything through here is just an unmissable story-related trophy. The game's like 33 story missions, including some short tutorial ones. You have to finish all missions on hard difficulty or above. Apparently there's about 15 missions, I think, that have to be done on hard difficulty for this one. And apparently hard mode is basically just like you hit the same and all, but just you have a lot... Well, I don't know if you hit the same or not, but you just have a lot more enemies with purple and yellow health bars that are harder to kill. And I'm really, really liking the game so far, by the way. Even though I've only played it for a couple hours, I'm having a lot of fun so far. The game definitely feels like it plays better than the first division. I feel like it's less complex in certain places where it didn't need to be complex, so I think that's a good thing. I'm having fun with it so far. The loading screens are way more tolerable this time around. I mean, I know this is a PS4 game and I'm playing it on PS5, but it's definitely more tolerable. You have to fully upgrade all of the settlements, which just requires finding a bunch of resources and completing missions, I believe. Then this one, tanks, I believe, are like the really bulky yellow guys or some kind of enemy that I haven't fought yet. Just shoot off every piece of their armor and then kill them. That one might come naturally. Control points, I've found one of them so far. I thought I was going to get this trophy, but apparently you have to be in an actual group, so this one must be a true multiplayer trophy. Oh well. Then this is an actual, both of these are actual multiplayer trophies. The put out a call for backup I can knock out pretty easily. This one I have to actually respond to the call for help and go revive someone, so that one could be a little bit more time consuming. I don't even know what this one is. Then this is the first trophy I got. It's for sliding across the hood of a car. It's pretty much unmissable while just messing around in the game. This one, I mean, I don't know too much about some of this stuff. It's going to take a while to like fully learn all this stuff, but this is related to basically challenges in the game. This one, I don't even know what that is. That is a multiplayer, technically, trophy with the Dark Zone. The Dark Zones are not fun. Extract an item from each of the 3. There's only 3. So this one shouldn't be too hard. This one will have to be boosted. No way I'm even going to try to do this one actually playing. I'm totally going to boost this one the way I did with the first division, because there's no way I'm going to win. This one is a multiplayer trophy, so it's the only one where you actually have to like win a multiplayer game, so that's not too bad compared to, Last Stand. This one, you have to create a clan anyway, and then just face off against another clan, so this one should be fairly easy. This one is supposedly missable, according to the trophy guide, if you don't complete it by the time you go to New York, which I don't know if they're referring to going to New York for the DLC, or if you actually return to New York as part of the main story or something. I don't know. But that one, you're supposed to do it pretty much as early on as you can to knock it out, and there's like 10 different, maybe, safe houses where you have to do the bounties at. This one you apparently can't get until pretty late in the game. This one you can't get until pretty late in the game. Reach level 30 is just going to be a time-consuming one, just like the first game. Create or join a clan is simple enough. This one is going to be another multiplayer trophy you're going to have to boost. You're going to have to take a full picture of 4 agents, so you're definitely going to need to boost that one most likely. Collect 20 blueprints. I'm not really sure how that works. This one should just come late in the game. This one should come sometime in the near future. I don't really know. I don't know about this one. This one is basically just upgrading the settlements, I think, if I had to take a guess. Equip and use each skill. I believe there's 8 total ones, and I've used the turrets so far. This is your typical Borderlands type of trophy. You have purple gear better in every slot. Then hijack and extraction in any occupied dark zone. This one I think I'm also going to need to do in co-op with like boosting partners or something, because I'm not sure that one's going to happen normally. It looks like it's actually a pretty tough trophy. It looks like it's one of the toughest ones in the game, so I'm sure I'm going to need other people to do that one with. Then you have the first DLC, which is the first raid. As far as I know, this raid's actually pretty easy. According to the guides, they say that this one, you can do it on the easiest difficulty. And apparently this one's pretty straightforward overall, as long as you have some people in the group that know what they're doing and can, find a full 8-player group that stays as a full 8-player group the whole time. You should be fine. The next 3 DLCs are just basically short story missions. There's like 1 or 2 story missions. I think it's like 2 story missions in each DLC, so very simple. You can do them on any difficulty, so you don't really have to worry. Those are not going to be a problem. Those each take like a couple of hours. No real issue there. This DLC should be fairly quick if I can find a group to do it with, or maybe even with randoms or something. So I'm not worried about the base game or the first 4 DLCs, in all honesty. It's mainly the Warlords of New York that I'm most worried about. So I think that some of these, like maybe the first 5, are actually story-related, which is pretty nice. But yeah, I think the first 5 trophies are story-related. Then after that, you have to complete a mission in New York with at least 1 directive active, which is just the modifiers. That actually really shouldn't be that hard at all. I don't know how this whole manhunt thing works, though. I think this one might be a story trophy as well. Yeah, it looks like that one's also a story trophy. So 6 story trophies, which is nice. And this one doesn't look that hard. But this one, I don't have any idea what this is, and I can't seem to find a good guide as to what you're supposed to do. It seems like no one really either knows or wants to tell how to do it. I need to look more into that maybe, but I haven't seen a good guide or anything for this one yet. This trophy is extremely easy. I actually got it by accident, so clearly you guys will probably get it by accident. And then reach level 40 with an agent is just a grind. So it's mainly, most of this DLC doesn't look like it's going to be difficult. It just looks like this one trophy is the one I don't understand at all. And then the other difficult trophy in the game is going to be the second raid. This one is apparently a lot harder and a lot more complicated. I think you can still do it on an easier difficulty, but I've heard that this one's definitely harder. But I assume it's going to be like Destiny, where I can find people out there that run these raids a lot and are willing to help out. Because the Destiny community was super, super helpful when I went back to Platinum and 100% both of those games. So I'm hoping the Division's community is the same way. But like I said, overall, I'm definitely enjoying the game a lot. It's definitely been fun so far. I don't think it's going to be too brutal of a Platinum trophy or 100%. So, yeah. And then there is going to be another Division game that comes out sometime in the next, year or so. But I think I don't even really know what it's going to be. I think it's something that's more unique, though. Like, a little bit different. But there is supposed to be some kind of spin-off Division game that comes out within the next year or so. I don't know if I'm going to be playing it. Depends on how easy it is and what kind of DLC it gets. So, level 824, 10%, 25,721 total trophies, 709 platinums, 4,614 golds, 6,797 silvers, 13,601 bronzes. So, plans for the upcoming week. This upcoming week, I'm probably not going to make very much progress. I already know for a fact, because this week, many of you guys probably know, it is Mother's Day at the end of this week. And it's also my mom's birthday this week. Sometimes the 2 days actually are on the same day, which is funny. But yeah, so it's her birthday and Mother's Day this week. So my family is going to be down here starting in the middle of the week. I think either starting late Wednesday, or if not on late Wednesday, then on Thursday. So we'll all be hanging out, doing stuff around here. So that's going to be taking up a good bit of my time. I know that we're going to a good dinner for birthday and Mother's Day, and we're going to do Top Golf on Saturday. Haven't done that in a long time, but it's a lot of fun. So it's going to be a pretty busy week for me, so I probably will not be making a ton of trophy progress. I'll probably be playing the Division 2 some, and maybe I'll do an easy game in there just to make sure I make some progress, but it won't really be priority to be, playing some of these games. There's a good chance there will not be any streams this week, so Far Cry 6 may not have any progress made unless I'm playing the DLCs. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to stream the actual Become the Villain DLCs, but I probably will still stream the remaining 3 Spec Ops missions and the Platinum, just because they're so awful, and it should be fun to watch me suffer some more. So that is what this next week is going to look like. Now, in terms of my overall list of games, the two priorities for May are, of course, The Division 2 and Far Cry 6. But moving forward after that, there's still, of course, GTA 5 hanging on down there with Criminal Mastermind if I ever decide to go back to it. Shadow of the Colossus and COD Classic and what's the other one? Outer Worlds. So those I still have to go back to at some point, but I'm mostly saving like COD Classic and Shadow of the Colossus at least for milestones. I don't know what milestone they're going to be. Maybe I could do COD Classic for 750. I don't know. That wouldn't be a bad choice for 750. And then do Shadow of the Colossus for like 800 or something. And maybe have them both done by the end of the year if I really wanted to. We'll have to see, though. I probably will be doing another Platinum Dumpster Dive stream within the next, like, 2 to 3 weeks, probably after this week. So that'll hopefully be fun, because, like I've said before, I'm cutting those back heavily because I'm really not doing shovelware anymore, true shovelware anymore. That should be fun, though, because those streams tend to be pretty fun, tends to bring out a lot of people to look at the terrible games. I can make a video out of it afterwards, so it's okay in that sense. But there are a handful of other online games that I might want to start at some point this year that I've been thinking about, that I just kind of want to knock out. I have both versions of Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl that I have to do. I know that they're both fairly short. They don't have a lot of online. But I kind of want to go ahead and knock those out sooner rather than later, just because they have multiplayer trophies and it's such an unknown, pretty dead game. And along with that, there's also Resident Evil 6 on the PS4 is one I've been thinking more and more about that I think I might consider going back and doing. The only problem is that, like, the multiplayer stuff isn't even hard to boost. It's just it requires boosting, and there's a lot of it, and it's going to be harder to boost on the PS4 because I can't just use 2 consoles with 2 copies of the game anymore like I did on the PS3. Because I was able to get all but I think 2 of the trophies doing that. So with most of the trophies, you only need 2 people. With a couple of them, you need 4 people. So I'm not entirely sure if I really want to do that one. I mean, I know it's not that bad, but I am definitely, unsure about that because it is a fairly time-consuming boost, and it is a lot of boosting. But, to be able to say someday that I've done every single numbered Resident Evil to 100%, because, I might still do the PS5 version of 7 at some point. It just depends on exactly which trophies auto-pop, because I cannot handle doing both Ethan Must Die and 21 Survival Plus again, but I think one of them does auto-pop, so it'll be one less thing. I think it's 21 Survival Plus, which is good because that's probably the worst one out of all of them. And then, of course, Village, I have to do both versions of at some point, which I will do at some point now that Mercenaries is actually a little bit easier. And then Resident Evil 0 at some point, and Resident Evil 4 Remake on PS4, but I'm not going to do that one until all the DLC comes out for it, especially if it's paid or something, because that would be kind of ridiculous if the Separate Ways is paid DLC this time around. That would be really stupid. So yeah, that's really the current plans for upcoming weeks. So thank you guys for watching. Please like, favorite, share, comment, subscribe, ring that bell if you haven't already. There will still be videos coming out this week, just probably not much in the way of streams. I'm working on the Resident Evil 4 trophy video right now. It's coming along. It's maybe like a third of the way through the first editing phase, and I have to record the script and then edit in the script as well as edit in some background music. So it's coming along. They take a while to make. Once I do that one, though, the next one after that will probably be Fallout 3, and then South Park, and then Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, and then I guess Far Cry 6 will be the next one after that, at least just the Platinum will be. So yep, that is going to be it for this week's update, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys later this week for some more videos, and the week after for streaming. I might still stream one time this week. We'll have to see.